Morning sunlight pours through the tall windows of the courthouse, onto the gloss-varnished wood floors, in long gold streaks. The scent of newly varnished desks mingles with the faint tang of coffee and paper. There's a feeling of nervous energy hanging in the air, almost tangible. Every camera lens in the courtroom clicks away, but inside, the atmosphere is almost suffocating. Every eye is fixed on the front of the room. Every heart pounds with anticipation. Kody sits in the defendant's chair, his hands clasped tightly in his lap, his fingers tapping against the smooth surface of the wooden table. On the surface of things, he is composed. But beneath that facade, slight tremors run across his hands. Robin sits a few feet away, gripping a notebook, knuckles white, as her eyes dart between the judge, the witnesses, and Kody. Christine leans back in her chair, her jaw tight, pursing her lips. Every one of the Browns holds a maelstrom of emotions, fear, anger, and betrayal, but none let any of it fully out. The bailiff's voice cuts sharply through the tense silence. All rise. Court is now in session. The echo of the boots against the wooden floor resounds in the room. Slowly, all rise. The judge, an older man with a stern demeanor and eyes that miss nothing, bangs the gavel. The sound echoes like a warning that the secrets kept hidden for years will finally see the harsh light of the courtroom. Mary steps forward, her heels clicking on the polished floor, a sound that seems to amplify every anxious heartbeat. Her shoulders are squared, though the slight shake of her hands tells of the storm within. Her eyes, usually soft and cautious, were now sharp and afire. There was a determination in her gaze, a declaration unsaid, that she would not let the truth continue to hide anymore. The prosecution rises, their movements deliberate, their tone calm but commanding. Your Honor, the lead attorney begins. This is not merely a family dispute. This case involves years of deception, betrayal, and manipulation. The defendant, Kody Brown, has orchestrated events in a way that has kept multiple truths hidden from those who trusted him most. Today, we bring those truths to light. The courtroom seems to shrink in on itself, as each word lands like a hammer, echoing off the high walls. Christine shifts in her seat, whispering something sharp and cutting under her breath, perhaps more for herself than for anyone else to hear. Robin bites her lip, trying to maintain her composure. Kody's face, a generally stoic mask, flickers with unease. Around them, cameras whir softly, documenting the twitch of every expression, the shift of every emotion. The first witness is called to the stand, a woman whose association with the family has always been complicated, yet close enough to know the secrets Kody has long guarded. Her steps are hesitant, measured, but there is a steel in her spine. She raises her right hand to swear the oath, her voice firm despite a slight tremble. I have known the truth for years, she says, and it is time that everyone here knows it as well. The room holds its collective breath. Even the judge seems to lean a little, curious yet still professional. Kody's hands twitch. Robin exhales loudly through her nose. Christine's eyes narrow, suspicion and vindication mingling in the sharp lines of her face. The gallery is tense. Reporters scribble furiously, trying to capture every word. The witness continues, relating specific incidents, conversations held secretly, meetings that were purposefully hidden, and choices Kody made that affected every wife in the family. She presents emails, texts, and letters, each piece of evidence a thread unwinding the carefully constructed facade. Christine reacts visibly in anger, pounding a fist on the table. Robin's fingers. Kody's lawyer stands quickly, voice even but firm, trying to turn the tide. Your Honor, these allegations are circumstantial at best, he says, glancing briefly at Kody, whose lips press into a thin line. We will prove these allegations are not only misleading, they're designed to create drama rather than reflect reality. But even while he speaks, the subtle shake in Kody's hands belies an inner panic, a fear the truth cannot be contained. Christine leans forward now, eyes flashing, her voice cutting through the soft murmurs of the gallery. "He lied to all of us," she blurts in a voice heavy with pain. "We trusted him, every single one of us, and he played us against each other." Robin bites her lip harder, tears brimming in her eyes. Kody swallows hard, eyes darting between Christine and Mary, realizing that for once, his carefully controlled image is beginning to crumble. Then, the witness drops the bombshell that stops the entire courtroom. It is something so unforeseen, so intimate, that the very room exhales in one mass gasp of astonishment. The crowd gasped. Kody blinks, wordless. Robin's hand flies to her mouth. Christine leans back, almost in disbelief, as if the air itself has been knocked from her lungs. Mary's expression sours, and the fire in her eyes is ablaze. The judge raises his hand, calling for calm, but the energy in the room is electric, almost impossible to contain. It's not just between Kody and his wives. The tension permeates the courtroom to reporters, the gallery, even the lawyers. Every eye is focused on the unfolding drama, every ear strained, capturing each word. It is in this moment, when the room seems to finally take on this electric rhythm, that the courtroom doors swing open and a figure enters, a figure that has otherwise been quiet, one whose silence has seemed only to lead to speculation and curiosity. Immediately, a presence is felt as every head turns. Kody's eyes widen slightly. Christine's jaw tightens further. Robin lets out a barely audible gasp. The gallery murmurs excitedly, sensing that what happens next could change everything. The steps of the new witness are measured, confident, but the weight in his expression cannot be disguised. He takes the stand and raises his hand to swear the oath. The air grows heavier with anticipation. The judge, his face impassive but eyes alert, leans slightly forward. This courtroom drama's first session comes to a close with the feel of a storm, yet to really kick in. The shuffling of files, the whispered conversations in corners, and members of the Brown family seated in their chairs, each lost in their whirlwind of thoughts and mixed emotions. Outside, camera shutters click away, capturing the expressions of a family standing on the cusp of chaos. The courtroom lights seem dimmer now, as if reflecting the weight of the secrets about to surface. Outside, clouds drift across the courthouse windows, their shadows fleetingly crossing the polished floors, shadows of uncertainty and tension inside. Every step, every whisper seems loud against the silent room. Kody sits rigid, his jaw clenched, hands gripping the edge of the table. For the first time in front of the cameras, the confident facade he has carried for years shows signs of cracking. The witness who stepped forward in the previous session now begins to speak with more detail. Her voice steady, unwavering. She opens a folder, revealing documents and photographs that had long been hidden from the public eye. These emails, text, and letters, she begins, her voice deliberate, paint a clear picture of choices that were made in secrecy, affecting not just one person, but every member of this family. Robin's eyes widen, lips pressed tightly together. She bites her lower lip to keep from crying, glancing briefly at Christine, who sits rigid, arms folded. Mary leans slightly forward, eyes glimmering with a mix of vindication and lingering pain. The air in the room feels heavier with each revelation. The prosecution carefully lays out a timeline of Kody's interactions, highlighting inconsistencies and concealed actions. They read from emails that show he knowingly misled multiple wives, promising transparency in some conversations, while hiding significant truths in others. Christine reacts sharply. "I can't believe he lied to all of us. After everything," she mutters under her breath, though loud enough for the microphones to pick up. Flashbacks occur throughout the narrative to paint the picture of the household behind closed doors. The whispered conversations in the dead of night, the clandestine telephone calls, and the subtle manipulations that at one time didn't raise a red flag with the wives. Robin remembers sleepless nights, troubled by inconsistencies in Kody's narrative. Christine recalls the early days when she challenged him alone and how he evaded and deflected her. Mary remembers, especially, the sting of knowing that someone in whom she had implicit faith could deceive her. The witness reaches the most salacious portion of her testimony to date. She pushes a piece of paper across the table to the clerk, who hands it to the judge. The room leans en masse, holding its breath. It's a document that threatens to upend years' worth of carefully built family dynamics. Kody shifts uncomfortably in his seat, fingers tightening on the table edge. Robin swallows hard, her eyes glistening, while Christine's face hardens into a mask of anger and disbelief. Murmurs ripple through the courtroom. The judge's face rises, and his gavel comes down once, twice. Order! Order in the court! The voice rebounds in the courtroom, but leaves none of the tension behind. The prosecution continues to press, guiding the jury and audience through a point-by-point timeline of the happenings, exposing a pattern that was hiding in plain view. Mary stands, and her chair scrapes against the highly waxed floor. She takes a deep breath, her voice trembling, yet firm. I trusted him, she says, her eyes glinting with unshed tears. And I was wrong. I thought I knew the man I married, but I was deceived. Every step of the way. The words hit like a hammer, echoing through the silent room. Christine tightens her fists, and Robin hangs her head, the weight of heartbreak etched into each line of her face. Suddenly, Christine slams her hand onto the table. Enough, she shouts, voice quivering. He cannot hide behind lies any longer. This ends today. The gallery gasps at the outburst. Kody's lawyer attempts to interject, but the judge silences him with a sharp gesture. The courtroom becomes a battlefield of words, emotion, and unspoken tension. The witness continues, bringing forward emails and recorded conversations that depict deliberate manipulations, instances when Kody's promises to one wife contradicted what he told another. These revelations bring gasps, whispered comments, and the shuffle of feet in the gallery as the audience processes the depth of deception. Each document is a dagger, each testimony a blow, and the courtroom hangs onto every word. Robin's hands tremble as she picks up a letter that was addressed to her years ago, but never revealed. The words inside speak of decisions she was excluded from, choices made without her knowledge that affected her and her children. She swallows hard, the tears threatening to spill over, yet she fights to maintain composure in front of the cameras. Christine leans back, her face pale, jaw tight. Mary's eyes harden, every line of her face etched with years of betrayal, finally coming to light when the witness drops the next revelation, a confession implicating Kody in actions none of the wives had anticipated. It's as if the very air in the courtroom grows thick with an unspoken warnings. The words are precise, deliberate, and heavy with consequence. Cameras click furiously as all react. It is almost as though the shock can be touched. Kody blinks rapidly, trying to process the accusation while maintaining the veneer of control he has clung to for years. Robin bites her lip, silent tears slipping down her cheek. Christine's hand flies to her mouth, as though physically restraining a scream. The judge leans forward, hands clasped, his gaze sweeping across the courtroom. Mr. Brown, he says calmly, yet with the firmness that only a judge can project. How do you respond to these allegations? Kody hesitates, his carefully curated calm faltering as he opens his mouth, then closes it, the words somewhere between a defense and a denial getting stuck. It's palpable. Tension so thick, it feels as though the room itself is holding its breath. Flashbacks intensify. whispered phone calls, private arguments, and the moments when each wife felt doubt, but could not articulate it. Christine recalls a heated conversation where promises were made but never kept. Robin remembers nights of restless sleep, questioning every word. Mary reflects on the betrayal of trust she had never anticipated. The foundation of her marriage shifting beneath her, the witness then produces further, more concrete evidence. An array of financial records, text chains, and a concealed diary. Each item is introduced in measured steps, almost like some sort of reveal in a thriller. One can almost feel the weight of every revelation as it hits the courtroom floor. Every document, every memory, every whispered secret weaves together into one tapestry of deception, manipulation, and heartbreak. Kody's attorney stands again, his voice modulated but tight. "Your Honor, we object. These are hearsay, and their weight is purely speculative." But the judge, his face unreadable, gestures for him to sit. The effect of the witness's testimony cannot be minimized, and the members of the jury sit forward, eyes riveted on each moment. The session proceeds with emotional testimony on the wife's behalf. Robin recounts feelings of exclusion and manipulation. Christine voices her deep sense of betrayal. Mary, resolute, details the emotional toll of Kody's choices as tears glimmer in her eyes, but her voice remains steady. Every thread of the narrative makes the tension tighten, drawing the viewer deeper into the story, the stakes building with each sentence. And just about the time the courtroom might get to a moment of pause, another bombshell comes forth. There's a hidden message, a previously undisclosed confession that shines a completely different light on the entire story of the family. The weight was almost palpable, the room holding its collective breath. It's like the courtroom is a pressure cooker. Every tick of the clock, every rustle of papers, every whispered conversation is adding to the layers and layers of tension that are all but unbearable. Kody sits in the defendant's chair, not moving, his knuckles white as he clutches the edge of the table. His face, usually so calm, is drawn tight with anxiety. The relaxed exterior he has managed on and off for years is starting to break down. Across the room, Robin sits without movement, her hands clasped tightly over her notebook. She bites her lip, holding back tears that threaten to spill with every revelation. Christine's arms are crossed, jaw clenched, eyes narrowing with suspicion and simmering rage. Even Mary, who tends to be quiet and reserved in her demeanor, now leans slightly forward, her eyes sharp and unwavering, fire burning in their depths. The witness from the last session takes the stand again. She opens a folder containing a series of photos, texts, and recordings that lay bare the intricate web of lies Kody has spun over the years. The people in the gallery barely make a peep, as each hangs onto her every word. "These aren't just mistakes," the witness says, her voice firm even in a room thick with tension. "These are conscious choices, made over years, which have affected every single person in this family." The prosecution rises, leading the jury through a timeline of events, illustrating points at which Kody manipulated situations to his advantage. Each revelation is a dagger. Emails that contradict previous statements, letters revealing hidden alliances, recordings exposing the depth of his deception. Christine exhales sharply, frustration etched on every line of her face. "I trusted him," she blurts out, voice shaking with emotion. Every word, every promise, all lies. Robin fights to keep her composure, fingers pressed against her lips as Mary's jaw tightens, her pain from betrayal clear. Kody swallows hard, eyes darting between the women who once trusted him blindly. Flashbacks punctuate the courtroom scene. Late-night conversations in dimly lit rooms, whispered arguments in hallways, and private phone calls that carried the weight of secrecy. With each memory, there's another layer of tension, Another reason for the audience to empathize with the emotional turmoil of the wives. The courtroom erupts in a cacophony when the witness reveals a set of text messages showing Kody's manipulation of multiple wives at the same time. The messages reveal contradictory promises and secret decisions that leave no room for doubt. Robin gasps, pressing a hand to her mouth. Christine's eyes flash with fury. Even the judge raises an eyebrow, signaling the gravity of the situation. Mary rises, and her voice, though low, cuts through. I gave all that I had, my trust, my time, my heart, and I was deceived. She stops, allowing that to sink in. Tears shimmer in her eyes, but she does not break down. The way she says those words shakes the air in the room with weight. It hushes the onlookers. Kody's attorney jumps to his feet, trying to interject and salvage the situation. Your Honor, this is all speculative. The evidence has no context. But by then, the courtroom is already in the vortex of emotion and drama, with each document, message, and testimony. A chunk gets chipped off the meticulously built image of Kody. Christine can't hold back any longer. She slams her hand on the table, voice rising over the murmurs of the crowd. He can't hide behind excuses or lawyers. We deserve the truth. Her words resonate, a mixture of hurt, anger, and demand for justice. Robin lowers her head, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Mary leans back, her eyes narrowing, holding on to a simmering mix of sorrow and vindication. The witness continues, one after the other, presenting letters and journal entries in evidence that reveal Kody's deliberate manipulation over time. The documents detail points in time when each wife had been kept in the dark, promises broken, and secrets maintained with calculated precision. The gallery reacts audibly, whispers, gasps, and quiet sobs. The weight of the revelations presses down on everyone present. The defense would counter, citing ambiguity and interpretation, but the evidence is quite clear. The jury sits in disbelief, fascinated. With each new revelation, the sense is hammered home that the Brown family has been stage managed by Kody, but at a cost. Emotional trauma and fractured trust. Robin finally speaks, her voice barely above a whisper's. I loved him, and I don't recognize him anymore. The words hang heavy in the room, almost suffocating. Christine's eyes glisten with tears, and even Mary allows herself a small, trembling breath as she absorbs the testimony. The audience feels the tension, the heartbreak, and the raw emotion that binds each moment together. Again, the judge calls for order, slamming the gavel. We will proceed in a structured manner, he exclaims, but the intensity stays. Kody's hands slightly shake as he readjusts his tie, a small, almost imperceptible movement that conveys volumes about his growing internal panic. The wives look on with anger and sadness, each waiting for an edge, a crack of accountability. Then comes the emotional apex, a recorded conversation between Kody and one of the wives, played aloud in the courtroom. His voice is familiar, calm, persuasive, but the words reveal manipulation, deception, and betrayal. The wives' reactions are instant. Robin turns away, covering her mouth. Christine closes her eyes, gripping the table edge as if trying to steady herself. Mary leans forward, fists clenched, absorbing every word with quiet intensity. The jury shifts in their seats, some leaning forward, others sitting rigid, absorbing the gravity of the confession. The people in the gallery watch in stunned silence as the tension coils more tightly with each passing second. The session escalates as the prosecution brings out financial records and private messages, suggesting a broader pattern of secrecy, deception, and emotional manipulation. The weight of these revelations starts to overwhelm Kody. He tries to answer, to justify, but each sentence is intercepted by the witness or met with undeniable evidence. His confidence crumbles with every second, in striking contrast to the poised, determined wives. The flashbacks intensify, quiet moments at home, private talks between the wives, and suspicion that has been long ignored. Every little clue that once seemed insignificant now speaks a clear, damning picture. Christine remembers a private confrontation with Kody, which he denies. Robin recalls sleepless nights of worry, putting inconsistencies together. Mary reflects on how trust was slowly eroded as she was deceived over several years. Just as the session may take a temporary pause, the witness drops another bomb, a hidden confession, previously unspoken, calling into question everything Kody has done, and possibly even testimonies from other witnesses thus far. The courtroom holds its collective breath. Kody's face tightens, with a flicker of fear crossing his eyes. Robin covers her face with her hands. Christine leans back in disbelief, and Mary hones a steady gaze with raised eyebrows. The gallery murmurs in anticipation. The tension is almost unbearable. Cameras click on continuously, capturing every micro-expression, every blink, every twitch. The judge reviews the new evidence, his eyes calm but piercing. The courtroom is electric with emotion, the air thick with anticipation. The courtroom feels smaller now, as though the walls themselves are closing in. The air is electric inside, charged with both anticipation and fear. Every person present, wives, lawyers, jury, gallery, seems to hold their breath, waiting for the next revelation to shatter the fragile equilibrium. Kody sits rigid, jaw tight, hands clasped so tightly the knuckles are white. His eyes flicker nervously between Mary, Christine, and Robin, each of whom is waiting for him to crack. The doors to the courtroom open again, and a hush falls over the gallery. A figure enters, someone whose silence over the years has been deafening. A family member, previously assumed loyal or neutral. Their presence alone commands attention. Cameras swivel, flashing incessantly as the witness takes the stand. Their movements calm, but deliberate. Shoulders squared, eyes locked on Kody. The judge motions for order. "Please proceed," he says with a firm voice, signaling the court is ready for testimony that promises to shake the room to its core. The witness starts to speak slowly, measured, each word deliberate. "I have remained silent for too long, but what has been hidden cannot stay buried any longer." The room feels like it's holding its breath. Even the judge leans forward, intent. Aware of the gravity of the moment, this witness lays out evidence that is unprecedented. Hidden recordings, confidential letters, and financial documents emerge. Proof of deliberate deception and manipulation, exposing Kody's actions in ways no one could have anticipated. Robin's hand flies to her mouth, the tears threatening to spill over. Christine's face pales, eyes wide with shock. Mary leans forward, fists clenched, absorbing every word with a simmering intensity. Kody's confident exterior begins to crumble, every shift in posture betraying the storm raging inside. The witness describes incidents that had been whispered about behind closed doors, secret meetings, carefully contrived manipulations, and hidden promises broken in ways that affected the emotional and financial lives of each wife. Every new revelation falls like a hammer blow, resounding through the room. The prosecution systematically lays down each brick of evidence. A string of emails, first, in which Kody promises transparency to one wife, while he deliberately keeps crucial information from the others. And then text messages, revealing secret communications, utterly contradictory statements made under oath earlier. The gallery murmurs, some audibly gasp. The jury leans forward, hanging on every word. The weight of the revelations is almost suffocating. Christine's reaction is immediate. She slams her fist onto the table, voice shaking in rage. "He lied to all of us, every single one of us." Robin buries her face in her hands, silent sobs shaking her shoulders. Mary exhales sharply, eyes narrowing, the pain of betrayal tempered by a determination for justice. Kody shifts uncomfortably in his chair, a subtle tremor in his hand, betraying his inner panic. The tension in the courtroom heightens as the witness produces previously unseen documents, financial ledgers showing transactions, indicative of manipulation, hidden accounts, and decisions made without consultation or consent. Every revelation seems to come out with the apparent motives of inflicting maximum emotional impact. Robin's tears flow freely now. Christine's face tightens with fury. Even the seasoned judge furrows his brow slightly at the seriousness of what is being revealed. Flashbacks punctuate the testimony. Late-night conversations in darkened rooms, hissed arguments in hallways, clandestine phone calls. All those details the audience had been waiting to see. These scenes really show how the wives were emotionally and psychologically drained from all that manipulation and betrayal. Mary rises slowly, her voice shaking but full of determination. "I trusted him with my life," she says, her eyes fixed on Kody. "And I was deceived at every turn, every promise broken, every secret hidden. It ends today." Her words are charged with weight, a silent fury coursing through the room. Christine leans forward, her face pale but resolute, while Robin presses her hands against the table, as if steeling herself against the waves of emotion crashing around her. Kody's lawyer rises again, trying to regain control. "Your Honor, we object. These documents and testimonies are selective and misleading." The judge's hand slashes down in a sit gesture. "This evidence will stand." The courtroom is electric with tension, the wives' emotions boiling to the surface. As the weight of the revelations becomes undeniable, the witness then produces the most shocking piece of evidence yet, an audio recording of Kody admitting to manipulating situations and hiding crucial truths from the wives for years. The courtroom falls silent. Every eye is glued to the screen as the audio plays. Kody's composed voice from the past fills the room, calm and persuasive, but the words reveal deceit, manipulation, and betrayal. Robin hangs her head low, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Christine's eyes are wide, her hands knuckle-white as she clutches at the table as though to anchor herself. Mary's fists clench. She leans forward, drinking in every syllable with burning intensity. Even the jury sits forward, several with hands over their mouths, stunned by the magnitude of the revelation. Flashbacks intensify, interwoven with real-time courtroom drama. Instances of each wife confronting Kody in private, sleepless nights piecing together inconsistencies, and the slow, dawning realization that deception had been part of their lives all along. With each flashback, the emotional toll increases, allowing the audience to connect deeper with the story. The prosecution continues with financial evidence, presenting accounts and transactions that reflect deliberate manipulation intended to sustain control over family resources. The wives react immediately and visibly to this, their raw emotions on full display. Christine shakes her head, her lips pursed. Robin cries openly. Mary's face sets in a determined expression, a silent vow to see justice served. Kody gets more desperate in his defense, and with each new piece of evidence, he loses a bit more of his calm. Every argument was met with a counter, every denial with tangible proof. The tension escalates, a palpable force that seems to pull the entire courtroom into a vortex of drama. And then comes the last bombshell of the session, a long-concealed letter written by Kody himself, which outlines the intentions and activities never revealed until now. Its contents indicate nothing but a deceitful act, a premeditated plan that has affected each wife in very personal ways. The gallery gasps. The judge stops, takes up the letter and begins to read it through, his expression grave. The courtroom is heavier now, as if the storm has been building, and the air is full of anticipation. The energy in the room is almost suffocating. It feels as though every spectator, every juror, and every camera operator holds their collective breath, awaiting the next revelation that might change the tide of fragile equipoise in the room. Kody sits ramrod straight in the defendant's chair, his jaw clenched, and his hands gripping the edge of the table, his knuckles white. His generally composed facade is cracking, and fear in his eyes is undeniably real. The wives sit across from them in a tense semicircle, their faces contorted in anger, heartbreak, and steely determination. Robyn's hands are clasped so tightly in her lap that her knuckles shine white, her lip trembling as she fights to hold back tears. Christine leans forward, her piercing gaze locked on Kody, jaw tight, teeth clenched as if holding back a scream. Mary sits up straight, her eyes unyielding, a fire of hurt in them, a woman pushed to the edge, finally ready to face reality. The doors open for the second time. Another witness, one who has kept quiet until now, enters into the courtroom. A murmur runs through the gallery. Cameras click, recording every movement. This person carries evidence that could tip the scales, evidence that no one expected, and everyone knows it. Kody's face tightens. Robyn exhales sharply. Christine's eyes widen. Mary's jaw hardens, signaling she's bracing herself for what's coming. The judge nods. The witness takes the stand. "Please proceed," he says, his voice firm, commanding, as though he knows the weight of the moment, speaks louder than words. The witness commences speaking in a calm but deliberate voice, as each word is diligently considered for maximum effect. "For years I stayed silent," he says, his eyes locked on Kody. "The time has come for everything to be revealed." And with that, the room went quiet. Even the murmurs ceased. The weight of expectation stood firm, the audience leaning forward, entranced. The witness lays out evidence meticulously, in detail, and damning. Hidden financial records reveal transactions that allude to deliberate manipulation of resources. Secret communications and recordings reveal lies, broken promises, and deliberate manipulation that affected every wife differently. The effect is immediate. Robyn gasps, her hand pressed over her mouth. Christine's eyes narrow in shock and fury. Mary leans forward, fists clenched, absorbing each word in a mix of vindication and anguish. Kody shifts uncomfortably in his chair. His confident demeanor fades away under relentless scrutiny. Flashbacks punctuate the courtroom drama. Late-night whispered conversations, private confrontations, and secret phone calls. Each memory illustrates the emotional toll of betrayal and the depth of manipulation. Christine remembers nights of sleepless worry, trying to piece together Kody's contradictory stories. Robyn remembers feeling excluded and deceived, struggling with the emotional weight in silence. Mary reflects on years of trust broken, promises shattered, and the slow realization of deception lurking beneath the surface. Next, the witness pulls out a series of emails that directly contradict Kody's earlier testimony. Each email shows not only manipulation, but also calculated attempts to control the narrative, maintain secrecy, and pit the wives against one another. The gallery erupts into a cacophony of gasps, whispered utterances, while the jury sit forward, eyes wide. Kody's lawyer stands to object, but the judge motions him firmly to sit down, indicating the undeniable weight of the evidence. Mary rises slowly, her voice strong, yet laced with emotion. "I believed in our family. I believed in him. And now I see the truth. I was deceived. Every step, every promise, every moment." Her words hang in the air, heavy with sorrow and fury. Robin bows her head and lets silent tears slip. Christine leans back, her jaw clenched, the full emotional weight of the revelations upon her. The courtroom becomes almost unbearable in tension as the witness presents the next set of evidence, a recorded conversation in which Kody admits to deliberate secrecy, manipulation, and deception spanning years. The calm, persuasive voice on the recording contrasts starkly with the emotional reactions of the wives. Robin buries her face in her hands. Christine grips the table edge to steady herself, and Mary leans forward, eyes blazing with determination and vindication. Flashbacks intercut with courtroom testimony reveal private confrontations, whispered accusations, and moments of quiet heartbreak that the wives endured in silence. The audience feels every emotional beat, connecting with the pain, betrayal, and tension as though they are sitting in the courtroom themselves. The prosecution then produces financial documents and text chains that point to deeper levels of manipulation and secrecy, proving a pattern of calculated decisions that affected each wife personally and financially. Christine's face goes pale as she reads through a particularly damning text chain. Robin purses her lips tight, trying to steady her shaking hands. Mary's jaw sets. She knows justice is within reach, but also realizes the enormity of the storm that has been unleashed. Kody tries to put up a weak defense, raising objections and trying to regain composure. Your Honor, this is misleading. The context is being twisted. But the courtroom, jury, and even gallery are numb to his words. The evidence is undeniable. With each testimony, each piece of documentation, each recording, one more chip has been taken away from his tightly held control and revealed layer upon layer of emotional and manipulative means to an end. It culminates when the witness drops the last bombshell of the day, a never-before-revealed letter penned by Kody himself, whose contents detail intentions and actions that shock those in the courtroom. Actions that didn't impact just the wives emotionally, but also their financial security and trust. The gallery murmurs. There are even some audible gasps. The judge takes a moment to make sure he reads the letter correctly, with due consideration for the gravity of what has been presented. The wives are visibly responding to the letter. Robin's shoulders are heaving as silent sobs escape her. Christine's face hardens, anger and hurt mingling visibly. Mary's eyes narrow, fists clenched as she absorbs the truth. Finally, the depth of the betrayal. Kody's face doesn't falter. The fear in his eyes is unmistakable. The session reaches its turning point as the witness steps back, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. Kody sits frozen, grappling with the enormity of the revelations and the emotional impact on the women he deceived. Robin wipes her tears. Christine leans forward, tense and ready, and Mary's gaze is unwavering, like a predator waiting for justice to land. Even the jury appears to be caught in this tension as they lean forward, whispering quietly to one another, enthralled by the unfolding drama. The gallery murmurs its speculations and anticipations, cameras recording every expression, every silent reaction, every emotional tremor. The gavel falls, but the tension in the air is still so thick, one could cut it with a knife. The courtroom feels suspended, as if even the air is charged with anticipation of the next revelation. Everybody knew this turning point would irreversibly change the balance. The wives are emotionally raw, Kody's facade is crumbling, and the truth that has long been buried is breaking free.